should I know? Out hunting or something. Anyway, they're gonna come back now.
Well, that's good.
Benito with the record.
Alanda, Jabba Tipo. Angasa Soko. Ajaya Jay Alanda.
Walter comes in during this performance. He has obviously been drinking. He leans against the door heavily and watches his sister. At first with the taste, then his eyes look off, back to the past, as he lifts both his fists to the roof, screaming.
Yeah! The Ethiopian stretchboard hands again.
Ruth dryly looking at him.
Yes, in Africa, it sure claiming her own tonight.
She gives them both up and starts ironing again. Walter, all in a drunken dramatic shout.
Shut up! I'm digging the drums, man. The drums move me.
He makes his weaving way to his wife's face and leans in close to her.
In my hearts of hearts,
He thumps his chest.
I am a warrior!
Ruth, without even looking up,
And heart to heart, you are drunk.
Walter coming away from her and starting to wander around the room shouting
Leaving jungle.
intently in his sister's face. He has stopped dancing to watch him in this unknown place.
Wait a minute, spear, hot damn!
He is suddenly in possession of an imaginary spear and actively spearing enemies all over the room.
Come on my side!
Benita, to encourage Walter, thoroughly caught up with this side of him.
Come on, Flaming Spear.
The lion is blinking! I'm away.
He pulls his shirt open and leaps on the table and gestures with his spear. Walter on the table, very far gone, his eyes pure glass sheets. He sees that what we cannot, that he is a leader of his people, a great chief, a descendant of Chaka, and that the hour to march has come.
Listen, my black brothers.
Akamasa.
Do you hear the water rushing against the shores of the coastlands?
Akamasa.
Do you hear the screeching of the clocks in one yonder hills beyond where the chiefs speak the council for the coming of the mighty war?
Akamasa.
And now the lighting shifts subtly to suggest the world of Walter's imagination, and the mood shifts from pure comedy. It is the inner Walter speaking. The South Side chauffeur has assumed an unexpected majesty.
Do you hear the beating of the wings of the birds flying low in the mountains and the low places of our land, brothers and sisters?
Akamasa.
Do you hear the singing of the women singing the war songs of our fathers to our babies, the great houses, singing a sweet war song?
The doorbell rings. Ding dong.
Oh, do you hear my black brothers?
We hear you, Flaming Spear.
Ruth shuts off the phonograph and opens the door. George Murchison
Roof.
Telling us to prepare for the greatness of the time.
lights back to normal. He turns and sees George.
Black brother,
He extends his hand for the fraternal clasp.
Black brother, hell.
Having had enough and embarrassed for the family,
Roof.
Benita, you got company. What's the matter with you? Walter the Younger, get down off that table and stop acting like a fool.
Roof.
Walter comes down off the table suddenly and makes a quick exit to the bathroom.
He's having a little break. I don't know what he's doing.
George to Benita.
Quiet 1 second.
Esposito, Monero, Lipinski, McSweeney, Mrs. Thomas, Torisano, Markey, Robert, Soriano, Mitchell, Escanovic to the attendance office now. Thank you.
Okay, continue. Listen, honey, we're going to the theater. We're not trying to be idiots and go change, huh?
Benita looks at him and slowly, ceremoniously lifts her hands and pulls off the headdress. Her hair is close-cropped and unstraightened. George freezes mid-sentence, and Ruth's eyes are all but fan at her head.
What in the name of... Louder, George.
Ruth touches
Project.
Benita's hair.
Girl, you doing natural. Man, look at your hair, your head.
What have you done to your head? I mean your hair.
Nothing said cut it off.
looking at George.
That's up to George. Is he ashamed of his heritage?
Well, don't be so proud of yourself, Benny, just because you look eccentric.
How can something that's natural be eccentric?
That's what being eccentric means, being natural. Get dressed.
I don't like that, George.
Well, how come you and your brother make an argument out of everything they say?
Because I have assimilationist Negroes.
Will somebody please tell me what assimilation? I mean, assimilate ever mean?
Oh, it's just a college girl's way of calling people Uncle Tom. But that isn't what it means at all.
Well, what does that mean?
Cutting George off and staring at him as she replies to Ruth.
It means someone who is willing to give up his own culture and submerge himself completely in a dominant and, in this case, oppressive culture.
Oh dear, 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 here we go. A lecture on the African past, on our great West African heritage. In 1 second we will hear all about the great Ashanti empires, the great Songhai civilizations, and the great sculpture of Benin. And then some poetry in the Bantu, and the whole monologue will end with the word heritage.
Nastily.
Let's face it, baby. Your heritage is nothing but a bunch of raggedy-ass spirituals and some grass huts.
Grass huts?
Ruth crosses to her and forcibly pushes her toward the bedroom.
See there? You are standing there in your splendid ignorance talking about people who were the first to smell iron and face of the earth.
Ruth is pushing her through the door.
Keep reading, Tanika. The Ashanti.
The Ashanti were performing surgical operations when the English.
Ruth pulls the door to with Benita on the other side and smiles graciously at George. Benita opens the door and shouts the end of the sentence defiantly at George.
We were still tattooing themselves in the blue dragons.
She goes back inside.
Have a seat, George.
They both sit. Ruth folds her hands rather primly on her lap, determined to demonstrate the civilization of the family.
Warm, ain't it? Chicago, for September.
Pause.
Just like they always say about Chicago weather. If it's too hot or too cold for you, just wait a minute and it'll change.
She smiles happily at this cliche of cliches.
Everybody says it's got to do with some bombs or something. They keep on setting off.
Pause.
Would you like a nice cold beer?
No, thank you. I don't care for beer.
He looks at his watch.
I hope she hurries up.
What time is the show?
It's an 8:30 curtain. That's just Chicago, though. In New York, standard curtain time is 8:40.
He is rather proud of his knowledge. Ruth properly appreciating it.
You get to New York a lot?
George offhand.
A few times a year.
Oh, that's nice. I've never been to New York.
Walter enters. We feel he has relieved himself, but the edge of unreality is still with him.
New York ain't but nothing. Chicago ain't just a bunch of hustling people all squeezed up together being decent.
He turns his face into a screw of displeasure.
Oh, you've been?
Plenty of times.
Ruth shocked at the lie.
What's Lee Younger?
Walter staring her down.
Plenty.
Pause.
What we got to drink in this house? Why don't you offer this man some refreshment?
To George.
They don't know how to entertain people here, man.
Thank you. I don't really care for anything.
Walter, feeling his head sobriety coming.
Where's Mama?
Ruth.
Oh, she ain't come back yet.
Walter, looking Murchison over from head to toe, scrutinizing his carefully casual tweed sports jacket over cashmere v-neck sweater over soft eyelet shirt and tie and soft slacks finished off with white pumpkin shoes.
Why are you college boy wearing faggoty looking white shoes?
Walter Lee.
George Murchison ignores the remark. Walter to Ruth.
Well, they look crazy as hell. White shoes, cold as it is.
Ruth crushed.
You have to excuse him.
No, he don't. Excuse me for what? What you always excusing me for? I'll excuse myself when I needs to be excused.
A pause.
They look funny as them black knee socks Benita wears out here all the time.